This is a special report from True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the trial of Scot Peterson, the Parkland School resource officer. Let's go to the courtroom for today's segment number 4.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we took our restroom break, we were in the middle of the defense presentation. We're going to resume at that point. Defense, when you are ready, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense calls Sandra Rennie.
Now, if I can come all the way up here to the witness stand, please. Once you reach it, but before you have a seat, you can just stop and look at me. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Please be seated. And once you are seated, if I can get you to scoot that chair forward as far as it will go. Can you please state your full name and spell your full name?
Sandra Rennie, Sandrarennie.
Mr. Adler, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Rennie.
Good afternoon.
How are you feeling right now?
I'm a little anxious.
Yeah. Have you ever testified in front of a jury before or in court?
No,
What do you do for a living?
I'm a teacher.
Can you speak up a little bit? It might be just make sure we all can hear you.
Okay, I'm a teacher.
And how long have you been a teacher?
About maybe 25 years.
And how long have you ever taught at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas?
Yes, I
How long
teach
have
at
you-
one.
How long have you been teaching now?
6 years?
And back on February 14, 2018, is that where you were teaching?
Yes.
And what did you teach?
I taught AP Computer Science principles, and I also taught engineering.
And where was your classroom located? In what building?
My classroom is in the 700 building, room 702.
All right. Let me show you and see if this photo contains where your class might be. This is Defense Exhibit E. Can you take a look at this photo? Is your class in this photo?
Turn around and look around. Okay, wait, this is a 1200 building,
Correct.
so no, my class is on the other side of that building.
Okay. And would it be closer to the west side or the east side?
It's, okay, wait a minute.
Sorry.
Let me get my bearings.
Sorry.
So,
West side would be towards the football field, that direction, and
Yeah.
the east side is the other way. So is your classroom closer to the west side of this or the east side?
the east side.
Okay. Approximately how many students did you have around the time of on the day of February 14, 2018? And when the fire alarm went off, or specifically talking about?
Approximately 35 students.
Okay. And tell us what happened.
I had a student who requested to go to the 1200 building to get his course card signed by a teacher. So I allowed him to go, and he returned very quickly, and he was a little winded, and he told me that he went into the building, he opened the door, and he saw smoke in the hallway, and someone was running around in the smoke, and it sounded like they were setting off firecrackers. So he didn't go in, he ran back to the classroom to tell me.
Okay, and what did you do next?
Well, as he was telling me the story about what was going on, the fire bells went off. So I automatically assumed it was because of the firecrackers that were being set off in that building, as he said, the smoke in the hallway. So we started to exit my classroom, 702, to head towards the 1200 building because that's my evacuation route. if ever there's a fire.
And then what happened?
So when I got to the corner of my building to turn left, to go down the hallway towards the 700 building, I stopped the kids for a minute and I went ahead of them to look down towards the 1200 building. And that's when I heard the gunshots. I heard 5 gunshots.
Did you know that there were gunshots right away?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Even though you had heard your student tell you firecrackers, you knew there were gunshots?
I knew they were not firecrackers.
Okay.
So my next thought was, it sounds like gunshots.
Okay. What happened next?
And then right about that time, I saw Deputy Peterson run across the walkway, like coming from the front of the building, there was another building off to the right. He came and he ran across my pathway. And as he was running across, I heard him saying, "Get back."
Who was he saying that to? Who was Deputy Peterson saying get back to?
I assumed he was saying get back to the teachers who were on that side of the building that faces the 1200 building, because they may have, I'm assuming, they may have been coming out of their classroom at that time because of the fire bells. So he was probably telling them to get back. I don't know if he saw me, but I just heard him say get back.
And how close were you to Deputy Peterson when you heard these 5 shots?
He was probably maybe 10 feet away from me.
All right. And where did you think that those 5 shots were coming from?
I thought they were coming from between the 700 and the 1200 building. There's that grassy area in the picture.
Does this photograph kind of memorialize where you thought the shots were coming?
Yes, because I was at so my classroom is on that side of the building, so I was coming up the hallway here.
Yes.
Because I was going to go out past the 1200 building to my evacuation zone. Okay. But when I got like here down in that hallway, I stopped there. I thought it was coming from here in this grassy area.
Okay.
But I couldn't see. And he ran across, like from here to here. He was running into the grassy areas.
Okay. So, did it sound like the gunfire was coming from inside or outside?
At that time, it sounded like it was coming from outside.
Okay. And even though your student had told you that there were firecrackers inside the 1200 building,
Yes.
you still thought that the shots were coming from outside?
Yes. It sounded that loud.
Okay.
Didn't sound like it was inside of a building.
Okay. And do you have any familiarity with whether there's an echo in that area that you were at?
There is a hallway that I had to walk through, and yeah, there's an echo. There's the auditorium building, which is that building that Deputy Peterson ran by, and then there's my building. So, and then it's a kind of like a covered walkway that you have to walk through. So yes, there is an echo there.
Okay. And finally, did you ever share this with any law enforcement officers?
Yes.
And this would have been closer to when that occurred, correct?
Yes.
And offhand, do you remember the name of the investigator that you spoke to?
No.
When you gave your statement, though, this was years ago, correct?
Yes.
Was there ever a time when you heard those shots that you said, my goodness, it's coming from the 1200 building?
No, I thought it was coming from between. outside between the 700 and 1200 building.
Okay. Thank you for coming in today. Good
You're
luck to you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Cross-examination, go ahead.
Judge. Good afternoon, Ms. Renner.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to show you a map on screen, Judge, if I may, and with the annotator. I'm showing you what's already in evidence as States Composite 17. Let me take this. Now, as you can tell from what I erased, you can actually mark on your screen just using your finger, okay?
Okay.
I know, I'll walk you through it, don't
I'm
worry.
looking
I
at the
will
top
walk.
of buildings.
Are you familiar with this? Do you recognize this area?
Okay, wait, let me see where I am. Wait, I think I think I know.
Zoom out a little bit more.
Yeah,
on this
maybe.
picture. If not, I can show you another picture. Let me show you another picture.
Okay.
Familiarize yourself. I'm showing you what's already in evidence in States 1.
Okay, I think I just got it.
Take a look at this picture. What else?
I just got it.
Okay. Do you recognize this picture as the campus of Evans State?
Yes, I like the other one better, but yes.
Do you see the area up around there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, showing you what's in the state.
Yes, okay, I got it.
So where is, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit.
Yes.
Do you see the 700 building?
Yes,
Okay. Can you just mark that with an X?
this is the 700 building right here.
Okay. Now, where you marked, that's actually pretty close to where your classroom is. Right?
Yes, right at the end.
702?
Yes,
Okay. So, fire alarm goes off.
yes.
What route did you take? If you could just trace your finger with it.
I came out of my classroom and I went this way. Got to the edge of the building. I'm supposed to go this way.
And how far did you get? You can stop it when you get to approximately where you were.
Okay, so let's back it up.
Okay. So let me do
Erase
this.
that.
Hold on. I'll do it. And now you can,
Okay.
you can pick it up from there.
I stopped right there.
Okay. And you stopped because you heard gunshots.
I stopped because I wanted to go ahead of my students
Understood.
to look down towards the 1200 building to see if there were any kids down there with firecrackers or whatever he had said.
Did you ever proceed north towards the 1200 building, or is that the farthest you got?
No, that's the farthest I got.
Okay. So that is the area, though, when you started hearing the gunshots.
Yes,
Now, you're familiar with gunshots. You've heard gunshots before, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You instantly knew, as soon as you heard it, that it was gunshots.
I knew it was not firecrackers.
Okay.
So, yes, I would assume would be gunshots.
So it's kind of like a logical deduction. If it's not firecrackers and it's that loud.
Yes,
Okay. Now, before the fire alarm, you said that a student went over to the 1200 building to get something signed from another teacher.
yes,
And that student came back very quickly.
very quickly.
And he told you, and on direct examination, this was elicited, that he opened the door to the 1200, that he saw smoke, that someone was running, and that he heard firecrackers.
Yes,
Okay. But that he didn't go in,
right.
so just opened the door.
He opened the door.
Immediately after that conversation you had with that student, the fire alarm goes off.
Yes, as we were speaking about it, the fire alarm went off.
Okay. Fire alarm inside your classroom, how loud is the fire alarm?
It's inside and outside. It's very loud.
Okay. Is it louder inside than outside?
I'd say. No, yes. Yes.
Yes?
Because my bells are right there. Yeah.
Now, when you're in this, go back to the picture, when you're at that spot where you stopped, you saw Mr. Peterson running.
Yes.
Can you just, and I'm going to change the color here, can you just show the area approximately where he was running?
He came from here, ran across there.
Okay. Why did you think he was running?
The noise, the gunshots, the whatever, everything was happening at the same time.
So you thought he was running to confront the shooter?
I thought he was running to, I didn't think about all of that, but
Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What did you think?
I thought he was running towards whatever was going on.
Did it make sense to you as a teacher working at that school that the school resource officer would go towards what was going on?
Yes.
And in your experience as a teacher, is the school resource officer there to protect the
Yes.
people on the campus? Are they there to look out for the welfare of the people on the campus?
Yes.
Did you see when Mr. Peterson decided to go, whether he decided to go into the building or come back to the hallway between 700 and 800?
No.
Now, you said that you heard 5 gunshots, correct?
Yes.
And that you thought that they were kind of in the grassy area.
Yes.
Now, you didn't see the grassy area from where
No,
you just
I
kind of
couldn't.
presumed.
Yes.
In general, though, the shots were coming from the north, from the area of the 1200 building.
Yes, it sounded like it was coming from right, like inside that area. And since he was running that way, I just assumed it made sense.
Got it. Now, you said on direct examination, you were asked whether the shots were inside or outside. And you stated that they were so loud.
Yes.
Did you presume they were from the outside because it was so loud?
Yes.
And that's the reason you thought it was from the outside.
Yes.
You were also asked about the hallway and the echo. Having been employed there for 6 years.
7 years.
7 years.
I don't know.
That area is known to have an echo right there in that hallway, correct?
Which area?
Where across
here?
the end of that hallway. So the end of the hallway between the 700 and the 800 building, under the cover.
The whole hallway, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Inside that hall, when I say inside, it's outside, but under the cover,
Yes.
there's an echo.
Yes.
Is the echo, in your experience, as pronounced as you get north of that area when you're outside the covered area?
I have no idea.
Okay, fair enough. Did you also think that they were gunshots, not only based upon how loud they were, but the succession of the noises?
Yes.
And with your familiarity with gunshots, or guns, did you think, what kind of gun did you think you were dealing with?
A big one.
A big one, okay.
I had no clue. I just knew it was big.
Okay. Now, ultimately, after you hear those shots, you run back to 702, your classroom, correct?
No.
You don't go inside, but you run back to that area, correct? I'm asking.
I ran past that area.
Okay. You saw students, though, and you basically said,
I
run.
told my students to run in the opposite direction.
So
just
run south.
towards the courtyard, yes.
And I'm going to go back to States 1. Now, from the area of 702, where did you run to? You were chasing right
We ran here.
in that building too, right there.
Yes.
Why did you tell your students to run in that direction? I know, silly question, but
No, well, I was afraid to go back into my classroom because in my quick thought, if the gunshots were here somewhere, if this classroom door is unlocked, I thought the gunman can come into this classroom right here. And this classroom, which is, I think, 701, is attached to my classroom.
So it's actually
702.
connected by
They're connected. And it's also connected to 703 and 704. It's like a suite. So there's like 4 classrooms that are all connected.
by a
You can
couple
go from,
doors.
yeah, you can go. So I figured if there's something going on there and they were to come in to that side, they would come into this classroom and then come right into my classroom. And I felt like that was not a good option.
You were telling your students to run to protect them.
Yeah, I told them to just run as fast as they can to the other side, which should lead them out to here and hopefully out.
Okay. And is that what happened?
We all ended up being stopped when we got to the main office, and they told us to run into buildings and take cover because, yeah, it was just chaotic.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, so we ran into this building here, into that classroom.
In the 200 building?
In the 200 building, right there somewhere.
Now, part of being a teacher there, you received Code Red training.
Yes.
In fact, January 2018, did you attend the Code Red training?
Yes, I did.
And that was offered by the school board, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall Mr. Peterson being there as well for that training?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Your Code Red training is to get the students to safety and for you yourself to shelter, to hunker down, correct?
Yes.
And it's the response, and you're to stay there until police response, correct?
Or we get some type of all clear from administration.
So either or, either all
or.
clear or the police come and get you. Based on that training, you're taught that the school resource officer, the police are going to do something, correct?
Yes.
That was your expectation, correct?
Yes.
And is that why you thought when you saw Deputy Peterson running that he was going to seek out the loud noises?
Yes.
Just one moment, Sean. I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Based on that, you redirect. It's just very good. Go ahead.
I want to make sure I heard you correctly. Shortly after hearing the shots,
Yes.
you thought you were in jeopardy if you just stood there in the area, correct?
Correct.
You didn't think necessarily the shots were contained within a particular building, correct?
No.
In fact, I think I heard you say that you were even thinking of running into one of the classrooms in the 700 building, but you passed on that, correct?
Yes.
And if I heard you correctly, it's because you thought that the shooter or shooters could actually even come into your classroom and do harm to you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for coming in. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Based on that, we reclose.
No.
Is the witness excused?
Yes, sir.
You may step down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Ives, that's it for the presentation.
It is, Your Honor, for today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to press pause until you're 2 minutes earlier today. The schedule going forward tomorrow, and again, we're still vastly ahead of the schedule I originally discussed with you. Tomorrow, which is Friday, June 23rd, I'm asking you to be back at the jury at 9:15. 9:15. Tomorrow, which is Friday, June 23rd. Same admonition as always, please don't discuss the facts of the case, the evidence, or the testimony amongst yourselves or anyone else. Please do not do any research regarding this case, the people, places, parties involved. Please do not read the newspaper, do not watch the news, nothing on the internet, nothing on social media. I hope you all have a good night. I will see you tomorrow, which is Friday, June 23rd at 9:15 a.m. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, we're outside the presence of the jury. Everyone can be seated. State, before I start my conversation with Mr. Peterson regarding his right to testify or not, is there anything else you need me to address before we recess the trial for today?
No.
Defense, anything else you need me to address?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Peterson, I'm going to put you under oath. I'm just going to start a conversation with you here, and then it's going to give you overnight to think about it, talk to your lawyer, talk to your family about it. And again, I'm not limiting the defense presentation, but at some point we're going to arrive, we have to make this decision, so I'm going to take care of this now. Okay, raise your right hand for me. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Put your hand on. Please state your full name.
Scot Ralph Peterson, Peterson, Scott with one T.
And Mr. Peterson, regarding drug or alcohol use, any treatment for mental illness, nothing's changed with you since the last time I had a conversation with you.
That's correct, Your Honor.
How are you feeling this afternoon?
I'm doing well.
Your head is clear this afternoon.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, Mr. Peterson, you've been present throughout the entire trial, correct?
I have.
Okay. So the state's already rested their case. We're in the middle of the defense presentation. At some point, we're going to reach the conclusion of the defense presentation, and you're going to have to make a decision about whether you want to become a witness in the case or not. So I'm only going to talk to you about that, okay? And I also want to make it clear, I'm not asking you any response that's going to invade your attorney-client privilege. I just want to make sure you understand the fundamental decision that you're going to have to make, okay?
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay, so I think you heard at great lengths, we talked about it during the jury selection process. Your right to testify or not, it's your fundamental right. Okay? If you want to become a witness in this case, you get to do so. If you do not want to become a witness in this case, that's fine too. It's your fundamental decision to make. You with me so far?
I am.
Okay, so you heard, I think in jury selection, I've already read the instruction to them. If you elected to not testify, I would read that same instruction to the jury if we were to reach that part of the trial, that they're not to consider that in any way, shape, or form. It shouldn't impact their deliberations in any way. The fact that you chose not to testify, they are to put that aside and merely make a decision based on the evidence, witnesses, and testimony that's been put in front of them. Has the government met its burden of proof? Have they proven each element of each or any of the crimes charged beyond a reasonable doubt? You with me so far?
I am, Your Honor.
All right. Now, if you chose to testify, there's a different instruction I would read. And essentially it says that I want you to treat Mr. Peterson's testimony the same as the testimony of any other witness. All the rules apply the same. If you find him credible, if you find him believable, I want you to believe what he told you. If you find him not credible or not believable, you can put his testimony aside. If you find some of it credible but other parts not credible, you can take the parts that you believe and you can put the rest aside. In other words, all the same rules will apply. I want them to treat you the same as any other witness. You with me on that?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
So what I want to make sure you understand, sir, is I'm sure your lawyer already has given you his best advice. I'm sure he will continue to give you his best advice. But this fundamental decision about whether you want to become a witness or not, it's your decision to make. You understand that?
I do understand that.
So here's what that means. If your lawyer tells you, sir, I don't want you to testify, okay, we're winning this case, we've had 9, 10, 11 days of great lawyering here, and if you get up there and testify and you subject yourself to cross-examination, it's going to mess this whole thing up and you're going to jeopardize the whole result. He may tell you that, and you may say, I understand what you're telling me, but I want to testify. I want to look at the jurors and tell them my version of this story that they've heard so much about. I want to tell them what happened. And if you want to do that, you don't have to follow your lawyer's advice. If you want to testify, you get to testify. You with me on that?
I understand that, Your Honor.
So the flip side of that example is also true. Your lawyer might tell you, sir, I need you to testify. All right, I need you to look at the jurors and explain your side of what's going on here. Okay? The state put on a compelling case, and there's a lot of troublesome things. And I need you to get up there and tell them what's going on. And you can say, I understand what your advice is, but I'm electing not to testify. I'm electing you to remain silent. It's my fundamental decision. You with me on that?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
So the point of the two examples is it's your call to make. Okay, your lawyer can give you his best advice. You can discuss it with your family. Everyone can give you their best advice. But at the end of the day, it's your decision to make. You understand that?
I understand.
All right. State, he has no priors, correct?
Correct.
All right, so we don't have to discuss anything about that. Mr. Peterson, only about this fundamental decision as to whether you would like to be a witness or not. Do you have any questions for me about anything that I've talked to you about so far today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm going to press pause at this point. At some point during the defense presentation, or if we reach the end of the defense presentation, I'm going to finish this conversation, and I'm going to ask you to have enough time to talk to your lawyer and family and think about it. If you need more time, I would probably be inclined to give you more time. And then at some point, I'm going to have to ask you, have you made a decision about whether you want to become a witness or not in the case? And if so, what that decision is, and you tell me what you want to do, and then we're going to take it from there. Any questions about any of that?
No, Your Honor, I understand.
State, anything else you want me to address?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So, I guess nothing else until 9:30. Okay for 9:30 tomorrow morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Event, you okay to start at 9:30?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the trial's going to be in recess until tomorrow, which is Friday, June 23rd at 9:30 a.m. Division FX will be in recess until tomorrow, which is Friday, June 23rd at 8:45 a.m. I hope y'all have a good rest of your afternoon.
That wraps up segment number 4 in today's coverage of the trial of Scot Peterson, the Parkland School resource officer. Keep it here and press subscribe so you don't miss any of our continuing coverage on this case as it continues to unfold. I'm Tony Brueski. Stay with us.
This has been a special report from True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast.